Hello and welcome back to RareRoo Crafts. I'm Sarah and I'm back on with another video. I know, 2 in 1 day, it's like buses, nothing and then 2 come along all at the same time. I'm on to share with you what I have created for the hashtag The Feel of Vintage 2021. This is a collaboration hosted by the lovely Nelda of Nelda's Crafts. Her link will be in the description box below this video, along with all the other links for all the other collaborators that have joined in. So the idea was that we would create using some vintage items, or we would make things look vintage to try and inspire other people to feel the love of vintage that we do. So this is the final week and I decided to do something that I really enjoy, which is making ATC cards. I love ATC cards. I do collect some. I've got some in a bulk binder, so I do sort of enjoy making them. I like working on this small scale. So I decided to go with a sewing theme because I've got some really lovely vintage sewing ephemera that I have printed from the Graphics Fairy, and B, I have been spending a lot of my time just recently working with my textiles. So I've been sewing, I've been knitting, I've been crocheting, so I just thought it was quite nice to sort of bring that into my crafting. So I started out by cutting out the ATC size, so that's 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches. I just cut them out of a nice sturdy craft card. I will put a backer on these that has got the information about this ATC series. I just needed to print them off. Once I'd got them cut, I rounded the edges using just a hand corner chomper sort of thing. Took the corners off. I like them with those rounded edges. I always think they look really really nice just with that little bit of a rounded edge. I've then used some decoupage glue and I have put a vintage sewing pattern, so this sort of thing, dressmaking patterns. The tissue paper is really lovely to decoupage with, and of course it's already sort of aged and because it's yellowed over the years because it is a vintage pattern, and then you've got the black lines that sort of show through. So I stuck that down with some decoupage glue, gave it another coat over the top so that it really sort of sunk through the paper and stuck to the card. Gave it all a coat of gesso, and then I've layered in some texture paste. This is just my homemade texture paste. Then I got some oxide inks, smushed oxide inks onto my mat and sprayed it with water, and I just kept sort of doing layers until I'd got it the way that I wanted it to look, drying it in between each layer with my heat tool. Then it was time to embellish it. So like I say, I've got the lovely vintagey images, so obviously that was where I was going to start. I went out to my fabric shed and I found some scraps of fabric that looked quite vintagey, and then I've just inked them with some distress ink. And I made a little cluster held together with a staple, little bronze staple, and then I'd got some little charms in my stash that were all sewing related. So on this one I've done a little sewing machine, a little Singer sewing machine. I put some glue and then I put some of these nice little glass micro beads, little button up in the corner there, some little gems, and then I like the little saying "make it happen," so I just popped that on the side. So that was number 1. Now, as I said, I do like to do my ATCs in groups of 4, so I've done 4 of them, and they're all on the same theme. So they all go together in a set, but they are actually all different. So this one, obviously you can see I've got a different little image. It's the little bird with the spool of thread. And on this one, I've put the little fabrics going down from the corner there with a big button holding all those fabrics down onto the top of that image. I've got Make It Count just down the side there, and this time I've gone for brown, really dark brown micro beads, and you've got the texture paste in the background there, and obviously the sewing pattern. I've done that the same on each, and the charm on this one I used with these beautiful little sewing scissors. Next up we've got this one, which is this gorgeous shoe with it's the king of all sewing machines. It's a little advertisement for a sewing machine, and it's showing a sample of the embroidery done on the machine, which I just thought was fab. I've put some fabric in the background that I used my pinking shears on, and a little bit of vintage sort of lace fabric. Again, I've picked out some buttons, and I found some that got the same colours as was in the advert. all the buttons and things are vintage as well. They came from a pack of buttons that I was given by an old lady. I've then got another pair of little scissors that was in the charms, and I'd got some little button charm as well, so I've popped that one on there. And this one says, great things take time, because when I'm sewing anything, it takes time. I am not the fastest sewer in the world. And then finally, I did this one, Creativity Takes Courage, which again, I've just used the little advertisement. I kept this one quite simple. All the background stuff the same as on the other 4 cards. A couple of little buttons. The fabric this time is underneath the sentiment. And then obviously I've got my image. And because it's sort of, I'd say black and white, but I've actually printed it on a cream cardstock. But you've got that sort of monochrome sort of feeling to it. I've gone for, they're almost like a pewtery coloured bead that I've put, the micro beads, and I've put that on 3 sides. And then again, just a little pair of scissors from the charm pack on the edge of the card there. And that's what I made. I did my little series of 4 ATCs for the hashtag Feel of Vintage 2021. And like I say, this is the last one, which is a shame because I've really enjoyed it. But it's been really nice to get all my vintage ephemera out and get back on my Graphics Fairy subscription site and have a look for those really lovely vintage feel images, and I've really enjoyed that, and it's made me want to make some more journals and just play with all the lovely vintage stuff that I've got. So I hope you will have enjoyed seeing what we have created over the past 8 weeks, and I hope it's given you all some inspiration to get your vintage things out and to see what you can make. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon in another crafty video. Bye for now.